hey, welcome back. I'll be with you in just a moment. Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Before we go look at the trunk on the back of the car, I want to show you the front of the car again. A while back when I did the walk around and showed you all the details about the condition of the car, I pointed out this dent up here that I didn't like. And I pointed it out to a friend of mine who was over a while back, and he's like, that's not a big deal. I'm like, okay. Why was I thinking that I was going to have some real problems fixing dents on this fender? Well, if you're looking, you could probably already see it. There's a low spot here, and it's bulged out right here. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I don't do body work really, so I'm going to have to learn how to fix this. I need someone to give me a starting point. Do I raise this? Do I push this in? Do I do both? You know, work back and forth and do both? I looked for, body working videos on YouTube, and I didn't really see anything where this, this peak is pressed down. I'm sure someone is going to have a comment for me, I hope. So you can see the trunk is on right now, temporarily. I was going to move all this hinge mechanism out, right? Make a new mount out here on the trunk, and basically to get this part of the hinge mount out past the wheel tub so it could pass easily. I don't need clearance for the actual hinge, but for the mount material that was on the back, I had forgotten. In the past, I'd cut that extra material off. So I don't need to move it, but now I don't have spring mounts for the trunk. So I can't use the original factory torsion springs. I tried to figure out how to use them, and the way they're designed, it's just, there's no room to mount the end. This material's right in the way. So either I got to get really creative on how I mount these springs, or just do something different, a prop rod or some real small gas struts or something. So that kind of sucks. It's kind of good, kind of bad. I don't need to move the hinges, but now I can't use the springs. I don't even have that chunk that I cut off of these hinges. It's just gone. So my idea for making this mount connect to the wheel tub is my little paper pattern here. Let's see, how does it go again? Like that. So that's going to go in there like that. I'll give it a little curve to follow the wheel tub a little, but we'll tie all this in, keep that from moving. So once I decided to put the trunk on, I realized that it's a good time to check the fitment of some of the other pieces. These corners down here, I have 2 sets. And we're going to take a look at them in a minute because they're kind of interesting. This set came with the car. This set I got off of a 1966 coupe that someone was parting out. So I was looking at the part numbers on the back, and they're a little hard to read. So let me hit them with a paint pen, mark them up so you can see it. Well, maybe you can. One says C4ZB, so that's 1964 production year, model year. This one, can you read it? Down in there. C5ZB. So, if I can get this to work, it's brand new. C4. I just buggered that up. You're not going to be able to read it. So now the question is, these are made in 1964. These are made in 1965. I have looked previously to see if this car was a 1964 and a half, is what they call it, right? Made in the mid to late 1964 model year. I think they're marketed as 1965 Mustangs, but people call them 64 and a halves. So now the question is this a 1964 and a half Mustang? Maybe. The VIN says no. The VIN says no. But there's some other features that 1964 and a half cars had that you can see them pretty easily. One is, I think there's supposed to be a set of louvers right here, and that was cooling for the 12 volt generator. And then 1965 they went to an alternator, so the alternator cars don't have that vent. And I think that vent is just for the horn. I don't remember. But there was one feature that stood out that made me think maybe it was a 64 and a half. Where these seat mounts were, you can see there's a splattering of, like sound deadener or underliner material, whatever you want to call it, because the platform that was here had a hole in it. Only the very early cars had a hole in the seat mount. The later cars, the 65, 66, they just didn't punch that hole out, if I remember right. So, am I cutting up a 1964 and a half? Maybe. Does it really matter to me? Nope. But there's a chance that someone's going to see it and lose their mind, because we cut out the wheel tubs, we cut out the front suspension, we cut out the back suspension. We're probably going to have to trim the transmission tunnel a little bit, firewall, patch some holes. It's going to get a roll cage, subframe connectors. We're cutting up the floor to fit subframe. We're fitting the floor to fit subframe connectors. There we go. And somebody somewhere is going to see this car and they're going to have a real problem with it. And I'm just going to have to walk away because I don't want to get yelled at for cutting up a rare collector car. So back to the actual parts here. I found out that there's some interesting differences if you're nerdy like me. So this is cast aluminum or something like it. So we got this profile that matches the body. You can see that one is just a single wall. This one is a double. There's actually a seal that goes in here on the later models. Another thing that I noticed that I just found was kind of neat. They cast in the fastener size. Can you read that? 1/4-20. So these three studs are 1/4-20. So they cast it right in there. That's error proofing at the factory. Someone's gonna go, oh, I need a 1/4-20 stud. Spin it in there. Oh, I need a 1/4-20 nut to go with it. Okay, done. Oh. Now, the other thing I noticed when I was looking at this is, can you see the little hammer marks in there? No, come on, camera. Oh, there you go. All those little divots. Somebody straightened this out or fixed the curve, and they did an okay job. So now the question is, what's the back of the car look like? Was that on this car when it got hit? If these are original, let's go look. It fits pretty nice. It's pretty dang close. It's going to be close enough I'm not going to mess with it. And then I noticed that this edge is very sharp. This is not a sheet metal edge. And that's wavy. The car got hit here at one time and squashed this in too. Someone bonked it on the street or who knows what. Oh, so that's good sheet metal. Good, good. Starting to get weak. Look at this, it won't even, the magnet won't even hold on there. So, that's all filler there. I'm not gonna touch it, I think. The only problem I see is this is flat and it kind of flares out down here. When you look at the other side of the car, this whole back flange is all in plane. So now I'm a little worried that the bumper is not going to mount properly. So I think the bumpers are way up there. Let's go get one down. If you're torn apart an old car, you've got to have one of these cans laying around, right? Okay. Ah. Okay, well, I see why people fix up these bumpers and close up some gaps. Almost looks like it's just sitting too far out. I wonder if I can just modify the mount to bring it in. That's not terrible. I'll leave it right there for now. What does it look like? Yeah, that's a big gap. I think that's typical. Some other Mustang nerd can tell me whether this is too big of a gap or not. To me, it looks too big. I think that's probably worth the thought experiment, at least, of getting that closed up a little bit. Wish I had the right screws for that thing. Okay, so I didn't find the correct screws, but I got some tiny zip ties. That'll work. Okay. Now I can just about get my pinky in there. I can get my index finger in there. I can just, oh man, there's a ton of room around here. So I've seen some cars where they relocate these bumpers. They, add material. They bring it more flush in with the sides. Yeah, if I push it all the way in, this doesn't line up at all. I have to find some good close-up pictures of some Mustangs and decide if this is, maybe this bumper is tweaked. Now, if you got an idea, let me know. Oh, it looks like I got some thinking to do. I wasn't planning on doing anything with the bumpers except for changing their color. I'm afraid if I bring that bumper forward to be closer to the body and close up that gap, it's just not going to line up at all on the back of the car. Now, what are the chances that this is not the original bumper, and it's not the original bumper, or it's not the correct bumper for the car? I think 1964 and a half, 65, and 66 all had the same bumpers, and the 67 to 70, 71, something like that, 1970, those cars were 2 inches wider than this one. So I don't think any of those bumpers would even be close. Not to mention the back of the tail panel is different shape, so I don't know. I'm not real happy with that fit up, but I don't know what to do about it. Yeah, think.